You gonna say this to me after all we've been through?
I'm gonna wait till Sandy gets there.
I don't want you to say it. Please, Sheriff, don't say it.
Deputy Mars.
Please, Sheriff.
I wanna go out.
Inside a massive underground silo, thousands of people have taken refuge to escape the toxic atmosphere of the outside world. Among them are Allison and Holston Becker, a happily married couple who are thrilled to receive an email from the silo's government, informing them that they've been approved to start a family. Overjoyed by the news, the couple heads to their doctor to take out Allison's birth control implant, as all adult women living inside the silo are fitted with birth control implants to keep the population at a sustainable level. At the doctor's office, the implant is painlessly removed from Allison's body. Back at home, the excited couple wastes no time in trying to conceive. They know that time is of the essence, especially since they're only allowed to have the baby within a 1-year window. The next day, Allison returns home from her job in the IT department of the silo. While discussing their days, Allison tells Holston that her strict boss, Bernard Holland, has removed an article she had published, explaining on how to recover deleted files from a computer. She reveals to Holston that the real reason she published it is that she hopes someone might discover some old files on their computer that could reveal the true history of the silo. However, Holston, who's the silo's loyal sheriff, reminds her that owning any item or files that predate Freedom Day is against the law. Almost a year passes, and Allison and Holston are still unable to conceive. On her way to work that morning, Allison is approached by Gloria Hildebrandt, a middle-aged woman with a reputation of being paranoid due to her inability to have a child. Gloria eventually convinces Allison to come to her apartment. Once inside, Gloria quietly walks to the kitchen and turns on the faucet, explaining that she doesn't want the strict law enforcement named Judicial to hear their conversation. During their conversation, Gloria tells Allison that she believes Judicial doesn't want people like them to have babies, as they're curious about the silo's history and secrets. Furthermore, they question the authorities, making them a potential threat. After leaving Gloria's, Allison heads to George's repair shop, as he had submitted a ticket requesting a visit from a technician. On her way to George's, Allison stops to watch a play depicting the rebellion. The rebellion ended 140 years ago, with the non-rebels emerging victorious. To celebrate this victory, an annual tradition was started, referred to as Freedom Day. With today being Freedom Day, the play is performed in commemoration of the historic event. Afterwards, Allison arrives at George's shop, where he reveals that about a year ago, an unknown man came in and handed him a hard drive. The reason he needs her help is that the drive is secured with a password. Despite struggling for a while, Allison eventually manages to access the drive, where she finds many files, including a blueprint of the silo itself. This causes her to suddenly jump out of her seat and leave the shop, as she realizes that this drive is over 140 years old, making it a relic, which is an illegal item to have. At the same time, Holston and his trusted deputy Sam Marnes are accompanied by Ruth Johns, the mayor of the silo. Mayor Johns delivers a compelling speech in front of all of Silo's inhabitants in celebration of Freedom Day. During her speech, she expresses gratitude to their ancestors for stopping the rebels from opening the doors to the outside world. Later that night, Allison and Holston lie in bed together. They lovingly hold each other's hands and come to terms with the fact that they're never going to have a child of their own. The next day, Allison decides to go back to George's, as she can't shake her curiosity about the contents of the drive. While going through the files, they discover a video of the outside, revealing a beautiful landscape with green trees and birds soaring through the sky. When Holston then comes home from work, he finds Allison sitting at the dinner table. She tells him that the doctor did not actually remove her birth control implant, but instead pretended to take it out and simply showed them a fake one. To Holston's shock, she proves this by showing the real implant she dug out of her body using a kitchen knife, leaving a gashing wound in her abdomen. Worried that she might die of blood loss, he hurriedly runs outside to get the doctor. After fetching the doctor, Holston finds Allison in the cafeteria. ranting to the confused crowd about how they're all being lied to. She tells them that the displays around the silo that show a live feed of the outside world are manipulated to show a desolate wasteland. Finishing her rant, she declares that she wants to leave the silo. This prompts the authorities to immediately begin preparations for her departure, as the law of the silo, named the Pact, dictates that if any silo inhabitant expresses their desire to go outside, they should be allowed to do so. With these irrevocable words spoken, Allison seals her fate. Following this event, Allison is escorted to a cell inside a room named Holding 3, where she awaits the silo scientists to prepare a special suit that could increase her chances of surviving the supposedly toxic environment outside. While waiting, she confides in Holston her plan for when she ventures outside. She tells him that if the world appears beautiful, green, and full of life, she will clean, which means that she will clean the camera that displays a live feed of the outside world. However, if the world appears terrible, she will not clean. She continues by saying that if the world outside is actually inhabitable, she will walk over the hill outside the silo to see what's really happening, and then return for Holston, with whom she's genuinely in love. Once the suit is ready, Allison puts it on, prompting Mayor Johns to tell her that they would appreciate it if she cleaned. However, they cannot force her to do so, as the pact will no longer apply to her once she's outside. As Allison steps outside, all of the silo's inhabitants watch her through the live displays. She takes a moment to look around before walking up to the camera and starts cleaning it with a smile on her face, conveying to Holston that the world outside actually looks beautiful, and not like they see it through the displays. However, as Allison walks away from the camera and up the hill, she begins to stumble, and after a few difficult steps, collapses to the ground, leaving her lifeless body among the other deceased silo inhabitants who ventured outside. The silo's residents are deeply saddened by this tragic event, with Mayor Johns even shedding tears. However, no one is more heartbroken than Holston, who's devastated to see his beloved wife fall to her death. 2 years later, Holston is sitting in his office when he's informed that George was found dead, and that one of the silo's engineers, Juliet Nichols, believes that he was murdered. Intrigued by this, Holston and Marnes decide to go pay her a visit. 3 months after meeting Juliet, Holston decides that he wants to find out whether Allison's corpse is truly collapsed outside, like it's shown on the displays, or if the live feed is fake. And so, one day, he locks himself inside the Holding 3 cell. When Marnes finds him there, he begs him not to say the words, but even with his friend pleading, Holston declares that he wants to leave the silo.